And we are live, but live, unfortunately, not from St. Mary's due to weather conditions. But hey, our first all-in pregame game day.
I'm
Kurt
excited.
Valenti, Jennifer Valenti.
How you doing?
We have our first. Want to give Eli a shout
Let's
out.
give him
He's
a shout out right
backstage.
now.
He's helping us produce.
Hey,
Jack.
Eli, how you doing back there?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having
What's
me on.
going on? What's going on? Jack will be back. Jack will be with us, the voices of St. Mary's, to give their thoughts on the game. But Jen, a little unfortunate again with the weather. We love going. We love going there. And the weather was just so crazy today. Like rain at 8, rain at 9, no rain at 10. It was just we couldn't do it with the equipment and stuff like that. But we will. I texted Coach Johnson and I said, I promise
we will be there.
We will be there this year.
So
if you want to just, I'm sorry, go ahead.
To echo Kurt's sentiments there, we'd much rather be live at the field. We just couldn't take that risk. But I was joking around, and Eli was part of this before we came live here. That what I feel like. It's Murphy's Law, right? We didn't go, so it's kind of sunny right now.
Right.
But if we were at the field, it would probably be raining. So
1000%.
Maybe what we did will benefit the teams, right? That they will be able to play in better conditions, given the fact that we didn't come to the field live. But the show will go on. We're just in a different location, so we're excited to be here. We are looking to do live pre-games for the NJIC throughout the duration of, the schedule. So we're sitting down, mapping out some of the games. So coaches, if you're willing to host, we'd love to come. We'll be reaching out to you. Just another reminder, we like to do our weekly stat leaders. So keep sending us those stats. A couple of coaches have reached out. We are so thankful. We want to be as accurate as possible for the athletes and reflect the work that they're doing on the field and give them that notoriety. So please include us in your stats. We really appreciate it. Anything else we want to mention before we go on?
Listen, this is a huge game here. Again, Woodridge, Coach Catrona, they went to 2-0 last night. Whoever wins this, Park Ridge is 1-0 in this league. St. Mary's 0-1, but in a non-conference game. So listen, it's going to set up nice for whoever wins this game. Park Ridge has been the team in this division the past couple of years. Experience. They graduated a lot of kids. St. Mary's has played a lot of younger kids the past couple of years. Now those kids are seniors. They feel like it's their time. So this is a big game, in their building. And again, the winner, I don't want to say in the driver's seat, but probably going to play for the division championship against Woodridge. So with that saying, Jen, I know we got some results from last night.
Let's before we jump into a more in-depth analysis of today's game, which is a Patriot Division matchup in the NJIC, right, that we were talking about today. We had a recap show last night, but again, for those maybe who weren't able to tune in or are curious about the scores from Thursday and Friday, we started off with Thursday night action. Becton hosting Garfield, Becton moving to 2-0, Garfield falling to 0-2, and Becton with a decisive
yeah,
win.
Again, Jonathan Palsy, there was a little more balance, a little more in the passing game, but 2-0, and again, the favorites in their division right now.
Okay, the next one is Cresskill opens up with another, and what we talked about last night is some scoring power, some lopsided victories a little bit last night, but Cresskill opening up with a dominant 40-7 showing at Powell Park.
Again,
Cresskill, Emerson, Powell Park, Leonia.
Yep, we talk about, they're the forgotten team, Cresskill. So again,
don't sleep on them.
No, don't sleep on them. Mm-hmm. I mean, hey, they believe they can win this division and get to that NJIC playoff. So it's a nice start for Cresskill.
Our next matchup is, I'm going to call them NJIC Powerhouse Butler, posting a shutout over Hawthorne in their opener, 47-0. I'm going to keep saying, this is who I picked to win the NJIC. It's a hard pick. Don't get angry at me at Coach Johnson.
Guys, we're getting a comment from our good friend Carson. Carson Shear. What's up, Carson? Good morning. Carson did his, him and Clams did their show this morning.
Yep. Well,
what's going on, Carson?
Thanks for tuning in.
Jen, you talk about Butler and one of, if not the favorite in the NJIC. We spoke with Coach, behind the scenes, and coach very excited about his team. And Horton, again, we're going to talk about a couple of teams in this division. Last year they get to, I believe, a sectional final, but a very big senior laden class last year. So younger team, tough way to start with Butler, but Butler, hey, that's the way to get the season going. 47-0.
And sometimes, whether it's preseason or even like your early season games, sometimes like getting that type of, and again, that's a team, Hawthorne, that's going to get better as the season
oh,
goes.
absolutely.
And sometimes you like getting that type of game
Yep.
under your belt to start,
Yep.
And Manchester, this is a team, I'm going to give you credit on this one, that you have said, another team you said don't sleep on. So Manchester, with a dominant opening performance over North Arlington by a score of 42-21.
Jen, after, again, speaking with the coaching staff, they were very high on seniors coming back in the offensive line, right? Again, this game, Manchester was down 21-14. They scored 28 unanswered points, but the difference is they're seniors up front. And we always say, if you can run the ball and you're good with an offensive line, you're going to have a chance. So first time in a long time, 2-0 Manchester, coming from the Union Division, now back with the big boys. And they got to be very excited there to be 2-0.
100%. Good to go off to a good start for sure. Oh, I forgot to fix this one. I'm going to go past it. I'm going to go past it. I'm so mad at myself. I
Game of the week.
But I know we have Woodridge, Weehawken showing, but let's go back to the Rutherford-Waldwick game. Waldwick played host to Rutherford and won by a score of 32-20, kind of taking down that dominant Rutherford, been dominant in the NJIC.
2 weeks ago, go back to the show, Jen. I was so tempted, and I was just like, I just can't go against Rutherford, but I knew something about this Waldwick team. Ryan Fleming, Alex Caserta, Ryan Natoli. That's a three-headed monster over there, running back, quarterback, receiver. And when coach comes on next week, he said, no more wing T. I'm going to open it up for these kids. And you know what? He didn't lie. They were in spread. They were running jet sweeps. They were running split screens. And to give these kids the space now. And you know what? The past couple of years when you had to defend Waldwick, it's like, okay, the wing. And listen to me, I joke around the wing T, but when you could run that, when you perfect that, it's very hard to defend. Very hard to defend. But you're putting these kids, like a kid like Ryan Fleming now, out in space. And it's like, how do you defend this team? And I'm going to be honest with Rutherford, as great as a coaching staff they are younger, but they had a problem. They couldn't stop Waldwick last night.
And it's one thing to say, and I know how excited you were because you knew the talent that Waldwick had, to see them kind of be in this new offensive set. That's one thing. But the second thing is you have to get the kids not only to buy into it, because now remember, Ryan Fleming's a senior, so that's all he knows up to this point. Not only to buy into it, but also to adapt to it, right?
Yep.
So I think that speaks volumes by the coaching staff and the kids. And I remember when I visited their practice, I think that was one of the questions I had for Ryan, and he was saying how they were adapting to things.
Well, I'll tell you this,
picking it up.
I think a guy like Ryan Fleming, I think he's going to be very happy in this offensive system, because you know what, the touches are going to be a little different. But hey, hats off, and I will say this right now: the Rutherford coaching staff is second to none. This team is young. This team played right with this team. And like I said, I would not be shocked if this team now rolls off 7 and 8 wins going into the state playoff game. Okay. Sophomore quarterback. Again, they're young. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, when you are top and like you're the team. And we always say, you got to be the man, you got to beat the man. And right now, Waldwick.
To tally how many times you've said that.
Well, hey, you know what? It's true, though.
We should have an over-under for how many times. But it's true. I know. It rings true.
But congratulations to Waldwick. And by the way, breaking news, they will be on with us live on Tuesday. But whatchamacallit? I say, again, don't sleep on Rutherford.
Our next game, we had Woodridge, Coach Catrona, moving to 2-0 with a win over Weehawken. Weehawken, another one of those teams, don't sleep on, coming back in from the Union Division. Started off with 2 tough opponents right away after their, as they're, coming back into the other divisions here in the NJIC. Listen, I'm not saying they're happy with losses, but with the strong showing, not to be taken lightly for sure.
No, and Coach Catrona, all he does is win over there, right? I mean, since he's been there, he's turned that program around. 2-0 now. Hey, next, they're going to have St. Mary's or Park Ridge coming up. And listen, their sights are set on winning that division and getting to the NJIC playoffs. They got a great quarterback over there. We'll probably be talking with Coach Catrona throughout the week. But 2-0, and they got to be fired up over there in Woodridge.
All right, and then we had Bogota traveling to Wallington. Wallington opened up with an out of conference victory last weekend. We had coach and his players on during the week, right, talking about their off season, how they really committed to getting bigger, faster, stronger, and physicality. And Bogota getting their first win of the season, 14-6 on the road.
Yeah, congrats to Coach Appleton over there. Doing a great job with Pagoda. Again, they're very close to being 2-0, right? They lost a very close game to Manchester week one. Wallington got their first win 2 weeks ago. So, you know what it is, Jen? You got these teams, Manchester, Elmwood Park, Pagoda, coming in from the Union Division and saying, you know what? Well, I'm saying teams that came from the Union that are saying that are going to say, you know what, like, we're not intimidated, you know, like we can play with you, and they've shown it. Yeah. So very excited going forward to see both of these teams.
Okay. And this is into our did we get
that's fine. Yeah, it did. It was 26-14. 26-14. A little upset, I guess you would say. New Milford beat Heights. Again, Coach Surrey started in his career there. New Milford, I believe, also New Milford has his coach was back. Correct. We just haven't got them. So maybe we got to get them this week. But big win, New Milford, 26-14. And hey, again, you know what it is? It's really true, Jen, when you say, okay, hey, everybody's 0-0. Now they're 1-0. Why can't New Milford have the confidence of saying, hey, we just beat Heights? Well, you know what I'm saying? We can roll the next two. So very excited to see.
All right. And then they just really quickly roll through our Saturday slate of games here, which we will be updating as well. Glen Rock travels to Pompton Lakes. We have Sea Caucus traveling to Saddlebrook, Lyndhurst Lodi matchup. And of course, the game we will be breaking down today, which is Park Ridge at St. Mary's. So there is a little recap of last night, a little upcoming. So you ready to jump into a little bit?
Yeah, again, I'm so excited to watch this game, Jen. I remember actually watching it last year where you had the younger St. Mary's and the veteran Park Ridge, and it was kind of like early on in the game, like St. Mary's going toe to toe with Park Ridge, you know, and then it was okay. The Park Ridge experience wore St. Mary's down a little bit, took over. But now it's like reverse roles, you know, like all these kids are back, and we'll talk with the voices of St. Mary's and Eli and Jack about that, because they're, you know, if there's anyone who's seen how these kids have grown, it is Eli and Jack, and we'll get their thoughts on that. But
well, let's jump right into, let's do a little Park Ridge breakdown to start. As we said, they had a home opening win over Weehawken, which makes them 1-0 coming into today's contest. They do have you know, some senior leadership on the team, with the Rossi brothers, Andrew and Matthew, Brendan Burns on the O-line, D-line, Shane Stetz, and we were able to catch up with Coach and a couple of his players, which we'll get to in a moment. But you want to talk a little bit more about maybe Park Ridge last year versus this year?
Yeah, you know, again, when you, and it happens on every level. It happens on and listen, college football, and happens in the NFL, right? When you have like a rookie quarterback and stuff, and it's the same thing here. You know, when you had the Cole Hughes and that experience last year at Park Ridge, you're able to open up the playbook and do a little of, you know, add and do everything, right? So I don't think, you know, this year, you know, it's going to be more of a basic offense, more of a physical offense. You know, they listen, their goal today is they want to run the ball. All right. For two reasons. One, that's what they do best. And two is they want to keep St. Mary's' offense off the field. Right. So, hey, you know what, that kind of plays into what they want to do. But, you know, you're not going to see the 48 points and the 50 points per games from Park Ridge. And that's fine. They want to play a run the ball style, like you said, the senior leadership on defense, and play to that strength. But again, this is a well-coached team. This is a team that this program just knows how to win. They've been the team in this division, Jen. And I can tell you this right now, they are not going to be at all, you know, worried about going into this. I'm not going to use worried. I mean, because St. Mary's is a very good team, but they're not going to be afraid going into St. Mary's today. They're going into St. Mary's today believing and thinking that they're going to come out with a win today.
All right. Well, we had an opportunity to catch up with Coach and some of his players. So let's just cut there and see what they had to say ahead of today's matchup at St. Mary's. I am joined by head coach of Park Ridge football, Coach Cleary. Hi, Coach. Thanks for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having us on. We really enjoy the coverage.
Let's talk a little bit about what we have going on ahead of the game here. St. Mary's, a lot of offensive weapons. What challenges does this pose for your defense?
The challenges are numerous. I put the film on. I didn't know if we were playing St. Mary's or the New York Jets. Their offensive line is humongous. They are fast. They are physical. They get off the ball. That is going to be a huge challenge for us. And the skills are some of the best skill sets I've seen in 30 years of coaching. B.J. Cunningham is one of the top receivers in North Jersey. He is going to be very difficult to stop. The running back, Nasir Owens, is a fantastic high school running back. Not only does he run with speed, but with power. The quarterback, I believe, is a 4-year starter, and Brad Higgins. Brad has really developed as a quarterback over the years. We've seen him the past 3 years, and he's gotten better every year. And it's really a credit to their coaches down there and to their kids. Coach Johnson, they're doing things the right way. They started with younger kids. They built the program with them. They took some lumps their first 2 years, and now all these kids are seniors, and they feel it's their time, and they're deserving of it.
And offensively, what does your team need to do to be successful on Saturday?
Offensively, we need to do what we do, and that's run the ball. We need to run the ball. We need to control the clock. We need to get first downs, have long drives, keep the ball out of St. Mary's high, powerful offense, and score touchdowns.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Coach.
You're welcome.
I'm joined by Park Ridge senior football player Shane Stetz. Hi, Shane. Thanks for joining me.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You guys have some new faces on the offensive side of the ball this season. How are all the new pieces coming together and clicking?
Yeah, we have a lot of new faces. We have a young team. We have some freshmen and sophomores stepping up. We want to just keep continuing and improving each week and maybe build chemistry, and have some success.
Great. Thanks so much, Shane, and good luck this weekend against St. Mary's.
Thank you.
I'm joined by Park Ridge senior football player Andrew Rossi. Hi, Andrew. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Last week in week 0, you guys posted a shutout over Weehawken. What do you guys need to do this weekend to have another good defensive performance against St. Mary's?
I think we just need to continue to execute the way we have, show just great hustling to the ball, playing some team defense, and trusting the game plan they have set for us and the rules that we need.
Great. Good luck this weekend.
Thanks.
So there we have Coach and 2 of his senior leaders. And it's funny, you talked about at the beginning of the show how, yes, they might have graduated as seniors, but these seniors have been waiting for their time. But we'd also talked about new faces. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention who I see showing up in the stats already is freshman Patrick Randolph, right? Lots of touches on the ball for getting rushing yards, but also playing both sides of the ball, getting major minutes as a freshman. So now, here he will be under that system. So think about when he's a senior.
Oh, absolutely.
So you always have that flip flop of new faces, but kids coming through. Yeah.
And again, I just think today it's going to be, the emotion is going to be more with the St. Mary's kid. At home after a loss. Park Ridge just has to kind of, what's the word? Not get ambushed right away. You know what I'm saying? Just hey, get out of the first quarter. And just the longer, in my opinion today, the longer the game goes, the better for Park Ridge, right? I mean, Park Ridge, with a young team like this, you can't get down 21-0. That's not going to be good. But when you're talking to the kids, what was the feeling you got, Jen? I mean, you talk with them. I mean, confident?
Yeah. Well, I do think their confidence is, confidence in the system. Absolutely. I think that, I don't you hit the nail on the head before. I don't think there's any fear. These kids have been in the system. And I think especially when you have those seniors who can set that tone and not show that, what, I do think so. Absolutely. 100% confidence. Yep. 100%.
Okay.
What did I want to say? Oh, I want to pull up St. Mary's schedule really quickly here. Let's move on to your, to a little breakdown of the St. Mary's guys here. So we said St. Mary's opened up last weekend with a loss at Pequannock. And I truly believe, as we were talking before, this is one of those games that's only going to make them better. Pequannock went on, didn't they go to move to 2-0 last night?
2-0. They,
They
on
beat.
Thursday night, they beat perennial powerhouse in Mountain Lakes.
Right. That's what it was. Yes,
beat up
yes,
on
yes.
Mountain Lakes, ran for over 200 yards on them.
So these are the things that once you, the initial, not that, and especially as a coach, more so as a coach I'm talking myself here than a player, but you never want to, you never accept those losses. But like, as the season kind of progresses and unfolds a little bit, you think, all right, you know what, that game was so great for us,
Exactly.
And here, I think when I think of St. Mary's today, I think of hungry.
Yeah.
They were hungry going into the season. They're even hungrier now that they have that game from last week under their belt. They're opening at home. Like, that's the one thing that kind of keeps coming to mind.
Well, when you think about, I mean, listen, did they want to win, and do you want to win every game? Of course. But this is the nice thing. That Pequannock loss did nothing. That Pequannock loss, I mean, like you're saying, besides making them hungry and getting more physical, but for what their goal is to win that division and get to the NJIC playoff, all those goals are still in front of them.
Yeah.
That didn't tarnish anything. And you get a chance to be better. You get a chance to really see, like, and I know Coach Johnson is harping on it, is how physical you have to be. And you know what? That was a great test for them. And they were right in that game.
Yeah.
And again, we'll have Jack and Eli with us in a second. They were there, but they had chances after chances to not only stay in that game, but to win that game. So when you look at the big picture, again, nothing's lost from that. Their season starts, in 31 minutes is what their season's going to start
before we get, I had a chance to catch up with John Hortez and Damian Merkerson, and we'll show their clips in a moment. But before we do that, can you talk a little bit too? We keep talking about the St. Mary's offensive firepower. And I think that, Coach Cleary really hit on the head, how he said Coach Johnson's done it the right way. So these kids that have been there now under Coach Johnson, it's their culminating senior season. And here's 5 seniors that I feel like are really, poised and ready to show, what they've been waiting for and working for. You want to just talk about
before I get to that, we have a comment from Coach Guy Bertola. Happy football season to my favorite couple. Go Mustangs. And nothing, I don't think anything will ever
Coach
be.
Bertola, thank you for checking in.
I don't know if anything will ever beat us on All In Game than when we were at Clifton that night, and Coach Bertola and Coach Coyne both came up to us live during the set.
Right
Unscripted.
Yeah, love the live.
But Jen, you got it up. I mean, just look at these weapons. These hands down. We're not going to say best team. I could tell you this: the best set of weapons in the NJIC is this group you put up here. I mean, you have 2 great running backs, and we had Murkison on the show, and we're going to hear from him later on. But you talk about an unsung hero. This kid does everything. Fullback, he plays a little tailback. He could catch the ball. On defense, he's a linebacker, one of their better defensive players. All right, so a lot of times they might not consider him an offensive weapon, but you better consider him as an offensive weapon. Obviously, Bradley Higgins, he's got the keys to it. Coach Johnson truly trusts him. You got a great running game. And again, in Nazir Owens, I mean, he was a 1,300-yard back last year as a junior. The combination of Kazir White and BJ Cunningham, I mean, probably are the best set of receivers in this league. And now we're talking about some other kids that's not even on this sheet. It's just the weapons here are unbelievable. I think they got to get their ground game going a little bit, and I think we'll see that from Coach Johnson today. And we had a little hint, from some of the players, but and maybe you'll get that as a key later.
Yeah.
But I expect this team. We had Kazir on, and he said 40 points a game. We'll see if that starts today.
Right. Well, we had, as I said, a chance to catch up with 2 St. Mary's players, junior John Hortez and senior Damian Merkerson. So let's just cut to their comments real quick. I'm joined by St. Mary's football players, John Hortez and Damian Merkerson. Hi, guys. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for the invite, of course.
Thank you.
All right, John, I'm going to start with you. Park Ridge is considered to be a division power. You guys also have your sights set on a division championship. How important does that make Saturday's game?
Um, this game coming up this Saturday is very important to us, honestly. Coach told us all week if we lose this game, it's basically the championship is basically gone, stripped from us. So we've been preparing all week, practicing really hard, do whatever, and all of our injuries, and hopefully we could just come out with this win.
Nice. And Damien's joining us with audio. Damien, you guys opened up on the road with a tough 21-7 defeat versus Pequannock. How has practice been this week as you guys refocused and prepared for Park Ridge?
Practice has been very physical. We learn our mistakes through the games. We learn our mistakes through our previous practice to prepare for that game. And we are building up character as, strength with our team, coaching staff working on their drills to how to get us better against their specific offense, specific defense. And for that, I'm pretty sure we will be ready for Park Ridge or another team next week. And practice will be very, very competitive because of that.
Awesome. John, I'm going to come back to you next. What would you say your defensive keys to victory are this week?
Well, Park Ridge is a very run-heavy team. They love to run the ball. So we just got to honestly just play aggressive and hit the right holes, hit the right gaps, and just clean up whatever we have in the inside, make sure nothing comes out. And if so, I'll be there to clean it up, of course.
And Damien, I'm going to come back to you with our last one. What do you guys need to do offensively to come out with the win over Park Ridge on Saturday?
Offensively, last game we was a pass-heavy team. We didn't usually run the ball. We usually wasn't that physical up front. This week we are going to be like a run-heavy team, and because of that, I don't think they can stop. They can stop our backs in the backfield with me in the backfield. Nazir Owens is also running back in the backfield, and sometimes Kazir White. It will be a hard game plan against us. Those three in the backfield.
Great. Thanks so much, John and Damien, and best of luck to you guys this weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and there you have it. Like you said, a little spoiler from Damien, right? You weren't giving anything away there.
Yep,
So,
yep.
Thank for them for coming on. Would you like to bring in Jack and Eli?
We're going to bring in the voices of St. Mary's football.
That is a great name there. Eli can actually just, there we go. And then let in Jack. Perfect. Awesome. Hey,
What's going on, guys?
Welcome back.
Thank you for having us. How you guys doing today?
Good. Very well. Very well. How are you guys? Good? Amped up for the game?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Fortunately, we can't be there because of the weather, but it's going to be a great game though for both teams. It should be it's a big game too for both teams.
Very true.
Absolutely.
I'm going to start. I'm not sure. I know who I was going to ask what to. I don't. I'm going to ask both of them this question, Jen. All right. I'll start with Jack. You guys, when we talk about St. Mary's football, you two are probably the guys that have seen them the most. Right. Besides the coaching staff, but you guys are there. You guys are there game in, game out, broadcasting the game. The kids obviously from school. So Jack, I'll talk to you. What have you seen and how much development have you seen since these kids, listen, some came in as freshmen, right? But they all played as sophomores, as juniors, and now they're seniors and older than the other kids and other teams. How much have you seen this team and these kids develop?
The team we're seeing this year is way different than the team we saw our freshman year for a number of reasons. Number one, I think the culture that Coach Johnson has built here at St. Mary's is second to none. And the reason I say that is because pretty much all of our top senior players that are here with us now have been with us since freshman year. We have not had most of our players on the football team are homegrown players. We don't have a lot of transfers who have come in, which may seem like a negative to some people, but we take it as a positive. We've been able to grow these players. They've matured. They've just become better football players, and they've become leaders. I thought what the Park Ridge coach said, we were backstage, obviously. I thought what he said was very telling about the St. Mary team. I do want to actually correct him, though, and say that Bradley is not a 4-year starter at quarterback at St. Mary's. He actually is a converted quarterback from the tight end position, which is very interesting to me. It's something I think about often, because that's not a very easy conversion. But you look at this team, top to bottom, you've got leaders all over the place, especially on offense. There's a lot of things to like on offense. I agree with you. I think we do probably have the best weaponry in the NJIC. Weapons all over the place. And I thought what you guys said about Damian Merkerson it's something I actually said on the broadcast last week about how I think he's the most underappreciated player on this entire team because of what he does. Everyone talks about Nasir Owens, BJ Cunningham. They're all great players. No disrespect to them, obviously, but Merkerson, he's one of the leaders of this team. He just does so much for the team. But they've grown so much, and it's been really cool to be a part of, these last 4 years.
Awesome.
Eli, what about you? Same question for you.
Yeah, I think we've seen throughout the 4 years improvement, progress, and growth. That's the 3 words I can say best to describe this St. Mary team. We saw from the beginning of the year not a great freshman year team. That when we started freshman year was not the greatest team we saw. Sophomore year, it was a little bit growing here and there. Coach Johnson fully, had a year experience, and now he was ready to go. Now, the sophomore year, entering our junior year last year, it was one of the best years yet. 6-5 the Gales go to. They had a fantastic quarterback of Bradley Higgins, who was a converted tight end, and we saw progress from him. He had a lot of ups and downs. He throws the ball well, but he also knows how to run the football. And baseball. He's a baseball player kid. He knows he's a pitcher as well. I think that gives him the extra advantage when at quarterback, and I think that's helped for him. As you mentioned, Jamie Merkerson was a top guy, Jack, as we mentioned before. To run the football, and who leads this St. Mary team to a whole new level. Another guy, as you mentioned, Jonathan Huertas, again, only in his junior year, and he's had already last season 7 touchdowns. He is another growing player. This can be a big year for him, and we saw it a lot in last week's game versus Pequannock, and now we're going to see it again entering today's game versus Parkridge and for the rest of the season, and we'll see it again more with B.J. Cunningham and Kazir White. And again, it's a family team. We're going to see growth and progress. And we've seen it a lot. This is the best year yet. We're going to see more tonight.
Nice. All right. Did you want to ask a specific offensive question?
Yeah, so I'm going to go. I will go to, you guys both know everything. So I'm going to go. I'll go back to Eli on this. All right. Offensively, Eli, I know we kept saying last week with the Pequannock and stuff like that about the, it was a lot of passing, right? Do you think that if they established a run, and again, you got Merkerson, Owens, and Kazir White, like they were saying, you're going to sprinkle him in, and Bradley also. But what do you think if they could run the ball? Okay, I'm just saying when they run the ball, what is that going to do for them, even in the passing game, and just how much easier is it going to be offensively for them?
Well, I think last year their biggest strength was running the football. So I think if they go back to that strength again this upcoming in today's game more, I think that's going to help the Gales a lot. This is a Parkridge team that is known for running the football, as they mentioned. So if they're going to try to go, I think it should be like an even matchup between the two and more of a running football game. Today's, especially with the weather and the field that St. Mary's has, this is not the type of place where you want to throw like you did in Pequannock. You want to just take it easy and run the football. Today's a run the football type game, and run and waste that clock down as much as possible and earn as many points as possible. And I think that's the biggest key. Run the football is the biggest thing, and we'll see it a lot more tonight. I think that also has a factor in with the weather as well.
Mm-hmm, good point.
Let me get Jack. I'll get Jack.
Sure.
Okay,
yeah.
Jack, I'm going to go defensive too, because I know listening last week to your live broadcast, which again is awesome when you guys do your live games. You kept mentioning what stood out to you was the defensive line. And again, we talk about it, and it's Pequannock. And, people who don't know Pequannock, all you had to do was watch them this past Thursday, and they played powerhouse Mountain Lakes, and they won big. And ran for over 200 something yards against a Mountain Lakes team who is usually playing for a sectional and state championship. So what stood out from you, and what looks different defensively this year for St. Mary's, especially up front?
Well, first of all, I just want to say that, Eli, you could really not have said that much better about the offense and the run game. And certainly also what you said, definitely look for the weather to play a factor today. St. Mary's does not play on turf. They play on natural grass. So that certainly is going to play a factor today. But on defense, yeah, it's definitely, I would say the interior of the defensive line is really where I saw the biggest change. You see so much penetration there, getting so many big stops. Messiah Atkins, Isaiah King, Sebastian Johnson, who's a transfer. They were getting stops play after play after play. Now, where the Gills struggled on defense was defending the outside run. That they need to improve on. But the interior was really what impressed me. And the secondary as well. I believe Pequannock only had one completed pass in the entire game on last Thursday. The secondary certainly looks solid. We lost one of our best players in the secondary last season, but it looks like our young secondary, is going to be really solid for us this season. It looks like Jonathan Huertas last year was a corner. He was mostly playing safety on Thursday from what we saw, which is definitely an interesting development. But going back to the defensive line, yeah, I think they've just got to continue to do what they do. The outside, they were getting pressure the outside, but what they need to finish. That's the key. They have to finish. They cannot, they were giving up, these big stretch runs. They got to be able to finish. They got to be able to close the gap and make these stops because they gotta be better on first down. That's where the Gills struggled last week, was on first down. So we certainly need to see that. And against a run-heavy team like Parkridge, I would expect that Coach Johnson would have really been preaching this to the players this past week, that they've got to stop the run in order to win this game.
Great insights, guys. Thank you so much. Before we let you go, we have to get your game prediction. Obviously a winner. And if you want to give a score, you can, but you don't have to. So, Eli, let's start with who do you have?
Well, I want to just say this. Parkridge has unfortunately beat the Gills in the past 5 years by big numbers. Today is a whole new game for both these teams. However, I'm going to take Parkridge in the victory over the Gills, 35-21 the final.
All right. How about you, Jack?
Unfortunately, I do agree with Eli, but I don't agree with the score. I think that's a bit of a high score for a game that's going to be played in the rain. I think this is going to be a very defensive play game. I mean, Parkridge only won 7-0 last week, and this Gales defense is very good. And so is Parkridge's defense. So I think this is actually going to be a very low scoring game. I think the kicking is going to be a problem. So my final, I think there might not even be any kicking attempts in this game. I think both teams might just go for 2-point conversions when they score touchdowns. It's very hard to kick at St. Mary's Field. So for my final score, I am going to agree with Eli. I'm going to go with Parkridge, but I'm going to go with a very obscure score. I'm going to go with 12-8. I think that's a very interesting score, but my prediction, Parkridge scores 2 touchdowns. They get stopped on both 2-point conversions. St. Mary gets 1 touchdown. They convert on the 2-point conversion, but they just want to keep this game close. But it does feel, I hate to say this because it's only week 2 or week 1, whatever you want to call it, but this does feel like a must-win game for the Gales. It feels like it would be a very high mountain for them to climb if they lost this game. They certainly can win it. I mean, again, the weather is certainly going to play a factor in them being home, but Parkridge, despite the coaching staff, despite all the new players, they just look so much. They looked really solid last week against a very good Weehawken team. I think they're going to continue that this week. It's going to be close, but I'm going with Parkridge in this one.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks so much, guys. We love having you, and we'll, Eli will stay backstage for us, and we will definitely be catching up with you guys Tuesday night. Absolutely. So looking forward to it, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you
guys so much.
Okay.
All right. So
the voices of St. Mary's, Eli and Jack.
Such a great breakdown.
Oh, absolutely.
I love having them on the show. Yeah, absolutely love it. All right. Well, before we give our predictions, we got to get to Kurt's keys of the games. Let's start with Parkridge.
Yeah, listen, they must establish the run, right? I mean, Coach basically say it too? They have to. That's not only, again, it's not only what they do, okay? Little inexperienced with the quarterback and, younger, a big spot, first time going on the road. And your goal is to keep their St. Mary's offense off the field. So they have to be, if they are in 2nd and 9s and 3rd and 9s, and it's not going to end good for Parkridge. So number 1, establish the run. Number 2, just limit the big plays defensively. St. Mary's in this league, hands down, has the biggest, the most big playability guys all over the field. I mean, passing, running, whatever they want to do. And they did this as sophomores and juniors. Now they're in a senior. They can't get into a shooting match with St. Mary's. They have to limit it, keep everything in front. Let's make St. Mary's drive down, keep it a low scoring game. The higher the scoring game, the worse it is for Park Ridge. And number 3, keep game close. The longer the game's better is the chance. We've always said it. You have a program where this team and these kids, even though they might have not been starters on teams, they were probably backups and maybe special teams. So they know, quote unquote, how to win, right? So, the longer you believe, just like I'm saying, St. Mary's is going to come out. When you're an offensive coach, when you're coming out with a 10-play script of boom, boom, boom. I want to score 10, twice in 10 plays. You get out of that and you don't make St. Mary's score. You get out of the first quarter better. The longer the game is close, the better for Park Ridge.
All righty. And your keys to victory for St. Mary's
Coach
today.
Johnson, Coach Sheridan used to say this to me all the time. Don't get bored. Keep running the rock. You got Murkison, you got Owens, you got White, you got Higgins. Hey, keep running the rock. Listen, all that's going to do is if you could establish the run, Park Ridge now has to bring more people in the box. Now you got Kazir White, you got BJ Cunningham, Hortes, you got these guys one-on-ones. It's going to be easy pickings for it. So don't get bored. Keep running the rock. And those guys, Eli and Jack made a great point too. Weather. Okay. Weather. You don't want to start getting into a throwing spree in bad weather.
Right.
Listen, snaps no good. Dropping passes. Hey, run the rock in weather. If you could run the ball in good weather, you're a good team. Number 2, have your stars make big plays. These kids have waited for how long to do this, right? BJ Cunningham, be special, right? Kazir White, be special. Nazir Owens, be special. All those guys. Make big plays. When it's one-on-one, Jen, hey,
your guy.
Be who you are. You know what I'm saying? Go 80. Go 70 on a play. Now, if you have to have a long stay and drive, fine. But when you get that chance and it's one-on-one, make the play. Hey, that's why you are who you are. Number 3, Jen, stop the run, make Park Ridge throw the ball. They're going to run. They're going to come out and they're going to run it. That's just Park Ridge's game plan. It's always been like that. Again, they don't have the experienced quarterback that they've had in the past. They don't want to get into a shootout with you. Stop the run. Make them one-dimensional. Make them throw the ball. If they do that, it's going to be a successful day for St. Mary's.
All righty. Great breakdown, Kurt, as always.
We do some homework.
Absolutely.
Right?
So on our Tuesday evening show, we had our guest picker join us. She picked St. Mary's. We had Joelle, is it Pounds?
Yes.
Pounds, former athlete there and former trainer as well, right?
Yes.
Okay. And Kenny, who was always picks with us, picked Park Ridge. So now it is our turn to give a pick.
Okay.
I'll give my pick first. I'm going to go with, I said it before at the beginning of the show, the word that comes to mind when I think of St. Mary's this season is hungry. And I think they get their first win under their belt at home today.
Comment from our good friend Jimmy Eiserman. What's up, guys? How's it going? What's going on, Jimmy?
Thanks for checking in, Jimmy.
Garfield guy. What's going on, Jimmy? So I'm sorry. You have a prediction?
I did. I said St. Mary's. Yeah.
Score?
Oh,
or no?
I'm not going to do. I never do scores. I don't.
Okay.
It's one of my personality flaws on this show. I'm not good with the scores, but I do agree with Jack that due to the weather conditions and because I think both teams are going to commit to the run game today, I do think it's going to be low scoring. But
Yeah,
that's all. That's the closest to a score you get from me.
I think this weather helps Park Ridge a little bit because Park Ridge wants. I don't think Park Ridge this year can get into a shootout with this team and try to beat them 30-28. I don't think they have. I don't think they can do that. So that's going to help them a little bit. But I just watched a game last night when you took a program like Rutherford and they went into Waldwick, right? And the difference is, there's Jimmy saying Mary's has to control the ball. Field conditions will not be favorable for passing. That's a great
100%,
point.
100%.
I think I kind of saw this movie last night, right? The team that waited, right? The team that was the team, lost a lot, now has to go on the road, and a team that just salivate and saying, you're going to be opening night in our building with our experience. And I think these kids, Bradley Higgins, Nazir Owens, Murkison, Kazir White, BJ Cunningham, Jonathan Horton, all these kids, right? All these kids have waited, took their lumps. And you know what? Because I'm going to say it. And again, I was able to coach under the great Coach Sheridan. And they said back then, that's how it was. When Coach Sheridan came back, teams were beating them 70-7 and, and okay. And then once Coach Sheridan got that going and those kids said, you know what? Now it's our time. Nobody wanted St. Mary's. And I think today, Jen, Coach Johnson, you better be watching on your phone 8 minutes while you're giving your pre-speech. Hey,
he turns that page.
Run the ball. It's going to open up everything else. One-on-one, get Nazir Owens going, get Kazir White going, get Murkison going. I think, again, Park Ridge is going to try to get this as ugly as it can. But I think, Jen, St. Mary's big players make big plays in this game. I'm going to take St. Mary's 26. Let me see, because I agree with the kicking. So I'll say 8-16. I'll say 27-13. St. Mary's wins. I think this game is close, and I think either BJ Cunningham or Kazir White breaks a long one late to get to that second score. So I'm taking St. Mary's. I'm going to take, say, 27-13.
Right. Awesome. And there you have it. Good luck to both teams playing today. Good luck to all other NJIC competitors. We want to thank people for watching, for commenting. We appreciate it. We want to thank Eli and Jack again for joining us. I want to thank Coach Johnson, Coach Cleary, the players that joined us for giving up their time. We know how busy they are, but it's helping us with the coverage, and we love being able to provide this for the NJIC. So
we will see you guys Tuesday night, 8:00, our regular show. We're going to do one show. It's going to roll right into the 9 o'clock NJIC. We'll have more of that again, and then next week we will be live. We will be doing a game. We'll figure that out.
Stay tuned. Lots more NJIC to come.